Do not mistake a vibrating tail for friendliness, as it often signals a high-frequency neuromuscular discharge of pure lethal tension. A wagging tail is not a language of joy. It is simply the roar of an engine signaling extreme arousal levels.
You have less than 1 second to recognize the difference between a warm greeting and a powerful, high-velocity, lunging strike.
The secret lies within the brain hemispheres, which control the direction of the wag to reveal the dog's true internal emotions. When the tail wags predominantly toward the right side, it signals the left brain is processing positive emotions and social approach. Conversely, a left-biased wag is a message from the right brain regarding caution, anxiety, or the deep desire to withdraw immediately.
High arousal isn't always aggressive. It can be driven by sheer terror, creating a dangerous trap of defensive energy right now.
Even a tail tucked between the legs can wag, signaling extreme fear-based arousal that can lead to a desperate sudden bite. This mechanical vibration is a lethal flag, signaling a state of high intensity that most people mistake for simple, happy excitement. High arousal manifests through mechanical stiffness, where the tail moves like a rigid rod rather than a fluid, organic pendulum of joy. This extreme arousal can transform into predatory or defensive behavior in the blink of an eye, often occurring without any growl. Long-haired breeds can hide dangerous tension, masking the lack of sinusoidal movement that typically flows through a relaxed, healthy canine tail. You must look beyond the fur to identify the tail base held rigid like a rod, signaling the dog is stressed. When the body remains stiff as a board while the tail wags, the tail is merely discharging excess neuromuscular tension internally. A social wag involves the whole body, from the shoulders to the hips, creating a soft, rhythmic C shape through the spine.
Notice the lack of body movement, and if the spine doesn't curve, the dog isn't happy. It's overwhelmed.
This is the lethal flag, a signal of high intensity that most people mistake for excitement, leading to an accidental bite. Look closely at the tail base. If it is rigid while only the tip moves, the sympathetic nervous system is peaking. Adrenaline is surging through the bloodstream, transforming the tail into a flag that signals a state of high alert, ready to explode. Observe the front paws. When they are braced and weight shifts forward, a wagging tail is no longer a friendly invitation. Watch for the wag freeze, a sudden transition where blurring movement stops stone still as the dog prepares for a physical strike. This freeze represents the critical moment the dog stops communicating and prepares to transform internal tension into pure kinetic energy. The tail remains suspended in midair, a broken bridge between a warning and an attack that many owners fail to notice. In this microsecond, the dog enters a state of apnea, holding its breath to stabilize the core for a lunging strike.
The moment that tail freezes, you must stop everything, break the tension, and move away immediately.
The hard stare often accompanies the wag freeze, where the eyes become rounder and the white parts, or sclera, become visible. This is T0, the final warning before the dog's threshold is crossed, and social communication is replaced by a physical defense. Many people get bitten because they believe the dog was just wagging its tail a second ago, ignoring the silent freeze.
The silence of a frozen tail is louder than any growl, yet it's the most dangerous signal you can ignore.
Understanding these microsignals transforms a dangerous guess into a precise prediction, allowing you to prevent a tragedy before it begins today. When you encounter an unknown dog, you must replace your instinct to touch with the consent test protocol for safety.
We call this the 3-second rule, a simple window to let the dog decide if they truly want to meet you.
Stand with your body turned slightly sideways, avoiding a direct frontal approach that dogs often perceive as a confrontational threat. Practice a passive invitation by keeping your hands at your sides, allowing the dog to decide if they want to interact. If the dog wags its tail and moves forward to close the gap, it has given consent for a brief interaction.
If the dog stays still or backs away while wagging, the answer is a clear no. Respect that space.
Respecting this boundary prevents fear bites and builds a foundation of trust between you and any dog you meet today. For dogs already in a state of high arousal, you must implement the visual break to disrupt their mounting tension immediately.
Use a soft tongue lick only if the dog is still moving. Never startle a dog already frozen and apnea.
The moment the dog turns its head away, the tail will usually drop from its high, rigid position, signaling a release. This is a cognitive interrupt, a technique that shifts the dog's focus from its emotional reflex back to its thinking brain.
Physical correcting increases arousal and risks a redirected bite, as the dog may snap at whatever is closest when threshold breaks.
Instead of pulling back, use a calm, firm redirection to a simple, incompatible behavior, like sit or look at me. A sitting dog cannot lunge, and a dog focused on a treat cannot maintain its high-frequency tail vibration for long.
You are replacing an impulsive reaction with a controlled action, lowering the adrenaline levels and restoring safety to the environment.
Watch for the lip lick or the yawn. These are signals that the dog is successfully processing and discharging its stress. When the tail returns to a neutral swaying motion, you have successfully navigated the wagging trap and avoided a potential disaster.
Recognizing these microsignals consistently is what separates a master handler from a regular owner.
Practice observing tails at a distance in public parks, training your eyes to catch the side bias and the vibration frequency. Never assume that a familiar dog is immune to high arousal. Even the family pet can experience a wagging trap moment.
Be careful. Play can escalate into a dangerous threshold in seconds if you stop watching the tail's vibration.
If play becomes too intense, stop the movement, wait for the tail to drop, and reward the calm state before continuing. This teaches the dog that the fun only continues when they remain in a state of emotional balance and social control.
You are not just a walker. You are a visual director of your dog's emotions, guiding them through a complex social world.
The more you look, the more you will see the silent dialogue that dogs have been trying to have with us. Knowledge is the ultimate leash, providing you with the power to ensure every interaction ends in safety and mutual animal understanding.
A wagging tail is a promise of action, but now you hold the key to knowing exactly what that action will be.
Remember, if the tail is high and vibrating, keep your distance. If it is loose and low, you are safe. Always perform the consent test, and never let a wagging tail lure you into a trap of dangerous, lethal misinterpretation again. Decode the signal. Predict the move. Protect the bond, because the most important conversations are the ones that happen in total silence.